Hi and welcome back to MDriven. It's been we've been talking about fashion and how we can get that going, and we've added some things to make it easier for you to style your application bit with MDriven in any fashion you see fit. So to demo this, I'm just gonna go through the motions so that any newcomers won't think that we're tricking anyone. Opening the MDriven designer with the click once install, and I will ensure that I have the latest server versions locally downloaded to my machine and wait for those to download. And once I have those, I will refresh server 1 slot, and that takes a little while to copy over the downloaded instances to the server slot. And now we have the MDriven server which holds the model, and the MDriven turnkey server which holds the application. I'm going to use those and upload the model that I had in, it's really the default model. Now I can go to the MDriven turnkey application URL, and we see the standard generated UI, and we can create some objects, save those, and watch detail page. Now, suppose that we want to attack this detail page. We want to show something completely different. First, we make a note of what it's called. And we make a note of where the server is actually running, because we want to do page overrides with a new slot that we have introduced. So I find the spot on the hard drive where the server lies, and I go into the views, and here I sort of want a new folder that's something with the page override. Can't remember as no one can remember anything nowadays. We have a wiki, so override something page, and yeah, that's the one. Ext override pages thing, that's right there. Yay. So I'm gonna grab that name and use that instead of new folder. So if MDriven finds files here that has the same name as the view model that you want to change, that file will be used instead. So this is how it has been for a long time. So I'm just going to show you what happens when you do view one thing .cs HTML. So CS HTML is the default extension for Razor code, which you can use to replace stuff in the template. But once we have done that, we have an empty file at this point. There's not much in it, but I can go into Notepad, for example, or if you have a better suggestion of a HTML editor, please let me know. No, I'm only joking. Of course, we're gonna look at some other editors in this video as well. So I'm just gonna write a h1 hello and make sure that that shows up over here. Yes, so nothing new here. The thing that was with the view one thing CS HTML was that you had to, if you wanted any action in it, any live data, etc., it was quite tricky to get that back. It was very easy with the default windows, but then it became pretty hard with the override. So we added a new, which we call tag expander instead. So if we name it like this, view one thing tag expander CS HTML, and reload that, and yeah, I've actually changed the file to hello2, even if that didn't make the final cut. So that's why we say hello2 there. But let's see one cool effect with this new technique, because whenever I save the file, the application reloads immediately. And this is done with SignalR and things like that. So we discover a file change immediately and signal the server to do the reload. And of course this makes tag expander extra brilliant for design work that's gonna be heavy, iterative, of course. And what we've done is added some cool tags that you can easily get functionality into your override. So what I did there was simply replace the whole main menu by using the no menu control. And if I would have written something else, the main menu comes back and I can see the tag that hasn't been interpreted in any way. But the real magic happens when we do the control tags that are named according to the view model columns of our views. So this won't work, but if we change the name to something that's more, yeah, let's take this this one. It's a selector or combo box, or what you want to call them. I'm going to put that name in here, dot control, and voila, there you have it. No questions asked. You just have the a little piece of the auto-generated form that you can do what you want with. So you can pick and choose what you want to show and how you want to show it. Just gonna add a few values to that the picker is choosing from to see that it's working fully. Cool. But if we try to leave now, we see that there's change state in the page, so it won't let us leave. And for this very reason, we introduced this tag, save control, and that will only render the save button if there's something to save. So now we can leave. Yeah, and as the web is like this, you have to know your HTML and CSS to get any cool stuff done. But if you take the time and learn that, there's really no extra overhead using MDriven. MDriven will handle all the back-end things and change state and streaming of data back and forth to the page, and you only need to focus on getting it to look nice. And so we think that's a real good workhorse for anyone that's into design more than nitty-gritty back-end development. So we looked at the control, but we can also use the view model column name along with another ending we call data. So what's the difference between control and data? Well, control is the whole possibly editable thing with a label, etc. But data is just the value. So the value in the format that the front-end framework, in this case it's AngularJS, knows how to handle. So and the value was apparently hello. but let's like add the control so that we can edit it in place. So I'm gonna take the sum string and make a control out of that and save that. So, and then we can see that the moment I change things, the header is also changed. So everything is connected and wired up the way you would expect it to be. Yeah, and let's move on with this, for example. Sometimes you have a bit more complicated stuff like lists and things, and maybe you want to do an iteration of this list, and we follow this one to details and grab the attribute 1 to show that. So for this you have to know a little bit of Angular syntax, but as you can see it's fairly self-explanatory, and no major hurdles setting up the scopes and things like that. Just go with what's easy and you will see things done. And to actually see any data there must be data, of course, so let's add a button in the backend code for adding details. So what's the expression for this? Well, it's self details dot add and detail create. So that would take care of us actually getting a new object in the details association, but we probably should also give it a value to attribute 1 so that we will see anything. So we take the last one we added and accessing attribute 1, assigning a text of some sort, and let's make it a bit unique by appending the size of the details collection as string at the end. This way we would get hello 1, hello 2 and hello 3 is my guess. So now we have that button here and a detail, and we're gonna add that control as well. Yeah, we're gonna do it like that with the detail and control to make it a button. Okay, and nothing happened, just the label came up, and yes, that's because I've changed the backend, but I haven't instructed the server that the backend has changed, so the server still runs on the old model. No worries, we head over here and say that we're still connected to or pointing to the right server, and I check the server status, it's okay, and I'm gonna upload a new model and we're done. So we have effectively updated the backend, and if we have updated the backend, I can resave this file to make my web page reload, right? Yeah, so I got the button add detail, and if I push it I get some new objects and the number etc. fixed. So cool. The main takeaway from this is that it's really easy to pick and choose what the things that you have in the view model defined, what you want to use. And you don't have to use everything of it, but probably if you don't want to use stuff, you wouldn't put it in the view model in the first place. But the main purpose might be that you want to do something completely different than what the standard UI does. So I pasted in another tag that's called import. So what we can do with that is actually pull data from anywhere on the web to pour in. to pour into your application. And I'm pretty new to Webflow, but it has been quite a lot of commercials pointing to this as a good tool to, if you're not super friendly with the code of HTML and CSS. And they have a lot of templates that you can buy, but there are a few that are free. So I'm going to pick one of the free ones because I'm cheap, and I'm going to create a project, is what I call it. And all of this seems to be free, and it's fairly decent to work with. Once you have a project running, you can publish the project to a place on Webflow's servers, so that's very neat. It seems to take a bit of time the first time you publish it. It wasn't this slow when I did it with the other ones, but we got a link to a published version of our site, so cool. And that link is something we can paste into our import tag. And having done that, we get some warning here. I'm gonna check that later on. Yeah, now we have pulled all the things from Webflow into our application. Okay, and let's see. This says there are form tags that are mismatched, and it's probably something down in the, yeah, there's a submit button things, and we probably want to do that some other way, but let's remove it for now. What's exciting is that we can use the tags over here. So let's make this to display our some string from our data. And so we don't want the control, in this case we want the data, so I'm gonna put it like that. And I accidentally pushed save, Control S, but this auto saves, I think. Should push publish instead. So I'm gonna publish that. It's published. And if I refresh that one, I see there's some string data there. So that doesn't look so nice, but let's pull this one. Okay, I need to make a change to our file in order for the application to know to it should reload everything. Alright, so it has expanded the tag and replaced it with our data. And yeah, maybe we want to implement these later on. We can talk about how to do that, but it's a complete sort of small website there. And let's see. Webflow, as you will notice, I'm not an experienced user of this tool, so I'm gonna poke around to see if we can add something new to actually put the control in to verify that we can change data as well. Like this, I guess. Right now we have something, a box of emptiness that we want to fill with something. Yeah, is it a layout? No, it's probably an element, and it's a, well, let's take the heading. Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna do just fine. And let's change this to some string control. And yeah, let's publish that. And it's published. Super. Heading over to my file to make a small change. And then it reloads. And I got the control where I can enter text, and the text is updated in the bound header. So and of course we could go on and replace all of these things. I put the save button down here if I want that. So pretty cool. And that's about Webflow. Let's start over with something completely different, like stealing stuff from CodePen. If you haven't checked out CodePen, it's a huge inspiration to find what you can do with HTML and JavaScript too. And it's really open and easy to access, so I really recommend that. And of course, if you steal stuff from people, you should probably say that you do. So in this case, it's created by mans.dev, and go and check him out for more details on this, because I'm only good at copying and pasting. But that's a very important ability to have in these days. So let's see, what have I done? Yeah, I'm gonna pull some data into the dog, and I saw that we had, this is fine. Yeah, sure, but it would be finer if we could get some data in there from our view model, like the sum string again. Yeah, my fantasy is fairly limited. Saving that, is this okay? So that's the sum string data, and I'm gonna put the, yeah, I'm gonna put a edit control down here so that we could change it. And save and head over. This is okay, text is too big. Cool. Yeah. Dog talks. Yeah. How cool is that? So, and if I want to go back, oh, you have changed the state. You need to save, man. Of course. No biggie. We put the save button, and since my memory is slightly worse than a goldfish, I used the wiki. Like that. And save it. And now I can go here, and if I were to change the data here to something else, like dog talks, or and then go back in, I can see that it's updated. Okay, it isn't very nice. The box is a bit too small. So dog talks, yeah. So this is was the main parts that I wanted to show with the tag extender, or did I say tag expander? it is. Said wrong. So please come back and check that out if you want to build web pages. Thank you for listening.